Hey everybody, ready for a deep dive? We've got some pretty awesome English language stuff to unpack today.
I know, right? You guys sent in an advanced vocabulary guide and some transcripts and subtitles too from that YouTube channel, English Pronunciation with Catherine.
English pronunciation with Catherine.
Yep.
I mean, so we've got like the what and the how, right?
Exactly. Meaning and usage. And then, of course, the pronunciation, which can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, exactly. It can be. But we're going to like go a bit deeper than just definitions. We're going to be looking at how these words and phrases get used, like in real life.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the words, like deliverables, it's like they signal a shift, in how we use language.
Oh, yeah, deliverables. It's everywhere these days. It's like jumped out of the boardroom.
You got it. And it's like the line between work life and personal life is getting kind of blurry. I mean, everybody's got a side hustle these days. We're all working remotely. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense that the language of business is like, bleeding into our everyday conversations.
Yeah, it's like we're all project managers now, even when we're just like planning a weekend away.
Right. Exactly. And that cross-pollination of language, you can see it in other words on the list too.
Wind down, for example.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I mean, it's all about relaxation, right? But you could also say, like, we need to wind down this project by the end of the month.
It's true. It does kind of suggest a more mindful approach to work, even when we've got deadlines looming.
So are we like getting more mindful with our language?
That is a good question. It would be interesting to see, how these words are actually being used in different contexts.
Let's put our detective hats on, shall we? Sticky situation. Oh, that's a good one. It's so descriptive.
Yeah, I know. You can practically feel yourself getting stuck. Yeah.
Exactly. There's a great example of how English uses imagery, to really drive the point home.
Yeah, and idioms, they're so powerful because they can pack so much meaning into just a few words.
That's true. Speaking of powerful, how about wimp? It's slang, obviously. Maybe a little bit sensitive, but it's often used in a self-deprecating way or for humor.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people call themselves a wimp, for not liking spicy food or being scared of, like, horror movies.
Exactly. It's meant to disarm,
Yeah.
not to offend. And Catherine from the YouTube channel, she does this brilliantly. She uses humor to make pronunciation less scary.
Speaking of Catherine, maybe we should shift gears a bit and see what she has to say about some of these tricky words.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm especially interested in choir. That one seems to defy all logic.
Yeah, choir. It's a classic example of English spelling being super misleading, especially for people who are just learning the language.
I know, right? If you try to sound it out, you end up with something like choi, which is so far off from how you actually say it.
It makes you wonder why English is so attached to these, like, ancient spellings. It seems like they cause more problems than they solve.
It is weird. It's like a linguistic fossil record.
That's a cool way to think about it. It's like the history of the language is embedded in the spelling, even if it doesn't make sense anymore.
I like that. And, Catherine's video is full of these great stories and anecdotes. It's like she makes pronunciation come alive.
Yeah. She's got a real talent for making it fun and memorable.
Totally. Okay, let's break down a few more of these words. Simultaneously. That one's a mouthful. 5 syllables, right?
Yeah, I know, right? It's a tongue twister for sure.
But Catherine, she makes it seem so easy. She just breaks it down syllable by syllable.
It's like she's conducting an orchestra.
You got it. And it shows that even the most intimidating words can be tamed, with a little practice.
Cool, for sure. And a good teacher helps too.
Absolutely. And speaking of good teachers, Catherine has a knack for picking words that a lot of people mispronounce. Even native speakers, like evening.
Evening. Oh, yeah. It's so easy to slip into that 3-syllable trap. Evening.
Yeah, but it's actually only 2 syllables. Evening. Such a small thing, but it makes a big difference.
You're right. It's those little details that can really elevate your pronunciation.
Okay, ready for another one? INnate.
Oh, yeah. Innate. That's a good one. It's all about those qualities that you're just born with, you know? Like a talent or a predisposition for something. Catherine talks about a friend who's just naturally organized.
Yeah, like they just have a knack for it. It makes you think about nature versus nurture, you know?
Yeah.
How much of who we are is predetermined.
That's a deep question. Maybe we need a whole other deep dive just for that.
Maybe we do. But for now, let's stick to the pronunciation of innate.
Okay. So people often put the stress on the second syllable, but it's actually the first syllable that gets emphasized. Innate, not innate.
Another subtle but important distinction. You know, it can really change how people perceive you.
It does. It just goes to show how important it is to really listen carefully to native speakers and pick up on those little cues.
I think we need to take a quick breather. There are still some fantastic words on our list, though, so stay tuned.
Back again. Still having fun with these English language quirks.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing how much there is to learn, even when you think you've got a good grasp on the language.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were saying, Catherine's approach with the anecdotes and the humor, it really helps those tricky words stick.
It does, doesn't it? It's like she takes the fear out of pronunciation.
Yeah, exactly. So should we tackle a few more from her list?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm curious to see what else she's got for us.
All right, let's start with breakdown. It's a phrasal verb, obviously. But in this case, it's talking about how Catherine, dissects words, breaks them into smaller pieces. It's a good strategy, actually, not just for language learning either.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you're faced with something big and complicated, breaking it down into smaller chunks, it makes it way less overwhelming.
It's creating a roadmap. Instead of staring at the whole huge thing, you focus on one step at a time.
Exactly. And speaking of navigating complex things, Catherine uses a great word to describe those words that are just notoriously difficult to pronounce. Notoriously?
Yeah, I love that. Notoriously. Mm-hmm. It's like a word describing other words that are hard to say, and it's kind of a tongue twister itself.
It really is, but I think it shows how playful English can be. Even when we're talking about pronunciation, we're kind of tripping over ourselves.
It's true. And Catherine, she just embraces that, Makes it fun.
For sure. So what's next on the pronunciation hit list?
How about width? It seems straightforward enough, but that th at the end can trip people up.
Oh, yeah. It's a sound that a lot of languages don't have. It takes some practice.
It does. But Catherine does a good job of breaking it down, showing you where your tongue should go, how the air should flow.
She makes it seem less scary.
Exactly. And speaking of words that seem simple but can be tricky, how about girl?
Girl? Oh, yeah. The pronunciation can vary a lot depending on where you're from and your accent.
Right. And Catherine acknowledges that in her video, but she focuses on the pronunciation that's common in her own accent, which is like modern RP, I think she called it, received pronunciation.
Right, right. It's a good reminder that there isn't always one correct way to say things in English. As long as people understand you, that's what matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think Catherine's focus on clear enunciation, it helps with that regardless of your accent.
For sure. It's about finding that balance between, embracing the natural for your being understood.
Okay. Ready for another potentially tricky one? Sixth.
Ooh, yeah, that X combination. Not something you see very often.
Right. But Catherine breaks it down. It's like the word sick, and then you add the fifth sound.
She makes it so clear.
I know, right? It's like she's giving us the secret code.
Exactly. And now for a word that even native speakers sometimes mispronounce. La.
Law. Yeah, so easy to just say law, right?
It is. But it actually rhymes with or, with that L sound at the beginning.
It's a small difference, but it can make you sound more polished, less casual.
It's like the difference between wearing, sweatpants and a suit.
Perfect analogy. Okay, are you ready for a word that's both hard to pronounce, and a bit icky?
Hit me with it. I'm always up for expanding my vocabulary, even the unpleasant parts.
Nauseous. You know that feeling of having an upset stomach.
Nauseous. Ugh, not a fun word, but definitely good to know how to say it.
Exactly. And the emphasis is on the first syllable. Nauseous. Catherine points out that some people say NOUs, which is fine too.
Right, it's one of those words with a bit of variation depending on your region.
All right, we're in the home stretch now. Just 2 more words left on Catherine's list.
Let's do it.
So let's start with deliverables, that word we talked about earlier, the one that's like taken over the world. Even Catherine admitted she was confused by it at first.
It's funny, right? Even language experts can get tripped up sometimes. It shows you how much language is constantly changing.
It does, and that's what makes it so interesting. Okay, last word. Innate.
Ah, innate. Such a powerful word. It's about those qualities that are just a part of who you are, those talents and abilities that just seem to come naturally.
Like, you know those people who can just pick up an instrument and play? Or they have a gift for languages.
It makes you wonder what other potential we all have hidden inside.
It really does. And it reminds us that even though language itself isn't innate, our ability to learn it, to use it to express ourselves, that seems to be a part of what makes us human.
And Catherine reminds us how to pronounce it correctly. The stress is on that first syllable. Innate, not innate.
Yes. Another subtle but important distinction.
Okay, so we've made it through Catherine's list, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
I know, right? This deep dive has been amazing. It's opened up a whole new way of thinking about language.
Maybe you should take a moment to think about some of the bigger implications of all this. Language is more than just words. It reflects our culture, our values.
That's a great idea. Let's take a break and then come back and dive into those deeper waters. We're back. Man, it feels like we could talk about this stuff forever.
I know, right? It's amazing how 1 minute you're talking about how to say choir and the next you're like pondering the evolution of language.
It's true. So we were talking about that whole thing with professional jargon creeping into everyday conversations, like deliverables. Is that just a fad or something bigger going on?
I think it's more than just a fad. It's like technology and work, they're just more intertwined with our lives now. Remote work, the gig economy. We're always connected, so the way we talk about work is changing too.
So it's like the language is reflecting those changes.
Exactly. It's not like we're all trying to sound like corporate robots. It's just that the lines are blurred now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess it explains why we're seeing more slang and informal stuff in like formal contexts. Think about all the internet slang that's popping up everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Marketing, social media. I've even seen it in academic papers. It's like language is constantly borrowing and adapting, taking bits and pieces from everywhere.
Like a living, breathing thing, right? Always evolving.
You got it. And it's not just about new words popping up. The meanings of existing words can shift too.
Like focus. It used to be all about concentration, but now it's about camera lenses too.
Exactly. The way we use words shapes their meaning. It's constantly changing.
So in a way, we're all part of this evolution, aren't we?
You are. Every time we use a word in a new way, every new phrase we come up with, it all adds to the mix.
That's kind of cool, actually. It means we have power, right? We can make language more inclusive, more expressive.
Absolutely. It makes you realize how important it is to choose your words carefully. They have a real impact.
So what does all this mean for us, the average person? How do we keep up with all these changes?
I think it starts with being curious, being open to new words, new ways of using language, and recognizing that there isn't always one right way to say things.
And maybe even like embracing the quirks, all those things that make English so unique.
Exactly. Instead of worrying about getting things right all the time, we can just appreciate how rich and interesting language is, even when it's messy.
Yeah, I love that. It's like language isn't just a set of rules. It's a playground, a place to be creative.
I like that. And it's good to remember that even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. We all trip over words. We all come across things we don't know. It's all part of the fun.
Well said. And on that note of fun and lifelong learning, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive.
It's been great exploring all this with you.
A huge thank you to Catherine for her awesome pronunciation tips, and to you, our listeners, for joining us.
Remember, language is always changing. The more we explore it, the more fascinating it becomes.
So keep those ears open, embrace the weirdness, and keep learning. We'll see